Environmental issues are a massive international concern, and everyone can play their part. This film looks at two inspiring and award-winning schools where ecology has transformed the curriculum. Built in the 1950s, Dorothy Stringer School in Brighton and Hove, East Sussex, was by no means eco-friendly. With hard work and dedication, a group of pupils and staff have transformed the school and the derelict building to put the environment firmly on the agenda. Dr. Dan Danaher and Rob Sandercock are environmental coordinators and key figures in the work at Dorothy Stringer.
In the very first year that I was here, I looked at it and I thought, this is going to be a marvellous opportunity for a field centre or an environmental centre. And I whirled around with the idea in my head. And then one day, the assistant head said to me, you know, I've been thinking that that building out there could be a marvellous environmental centre. And at first I was really fed up because somebody had got my idea. But then I realised that in fact it worked to my advantage because I didn't have to persuade anybody. It was already there.
There were a few other people that were quite interested in trying to do something, but only when we all got together did we feel that we had enough energy and momentum to actually get something off the ground. In the autumn of 2000, we went about actually clearing the whole building. And slowly, bit by bit, we actually had the building, we've done the building up.
With work complete, the centre has become a focal point for environmental activity throughout the school.
It then allowed us to have a centre, the kids get involved with what we do, there's a sense of belonging, property is really important, and of course there's the sense of autonomy as well. They have a sense that they can do things in that area. And make it their own. The Eco Centre has been a really positive part of what we do. I think you need big projects in order to be able to engage enthusiasm, to motivate people, to make them think that, you know, we're getting on and achieving things. And from that point of view, that's been excellent.
With the centre as a base, environmental work can spread through the school.
These boxes were a trial with Brighton and Hove Council, but they were decided they were too small for household recycling. These were going to be thrown away, so in true recycling style, we're actually using the recycling boxes in school.
Waste paper is collected from every classroom and put to good use.
We actually take the paper, and if it's only been used on one side and is not damaged, then we actually collate it and put it together and make recycled notepads out of that paper.
An in-house magazine is produced in the Environmental Centre.
The Green Pages is a collection of articles written by pupils, teachers, governors, talking about all of the activities that have taken place over, say, a 6-month period. It voices the interests, the enthusiasm, and shows the diversity of activities that we undertake. I'm really proud of the Green Pages. It's one of the most important things that we do because it lets people know. And I really think that if you're going to be successful, you need to let people know what you're doing.
Libby Danaher, an English and drama teacher, is a key member of the group and keen to work with environmental themes in the classroom.
When you're writing your articles for the Green Pages, you need to use these kind of persuasive techniques if you want to tell people about the Environment Centre and about the work that we do around the school to make it a better place.
Don't do that, look.
React globally.
Many schools see environmental education as recycling, and that's it. And that's a great mistake, I think, because you have to contextualise these things. People have to understand why we're doing it. And so what we try to do is we try to get the kids out into the local environment. We get them to see what we call the crown jewels. We live on the South Downs, so they see the amazing Chalk Hill blue butterflies, the orchids. We want them to be inspired by a sense of wonder and awe about the natural environment. And it gives them a sense of purpose, of reason why we save tin cans or recycle paper. It lets them realise why the environment's worth caring about. I'd love to get some sparrow boxes.
Outside school hours, environmental work continues.
The Woodland Working Days came about because we recognised that one of the important things that we could do is make a contribution to local conservation, wildlife conservation, and to help with the environmental education using this as a resource.
now we've got the environment centre all sorted out. We can do loads of different things, and now we've just started the compost thing, so it's going to be really great in growing our own food and stuff. So
it lets children be involved with hammers, and lots of other big heavy things, but also the environment. So
looking after the environment and doing stuff for it, like helping grow natural vegetables and not using too many fertilisers, just doing it all naturally.
after the day is done, you feel like, oh wow, I've actually helped the world.
Is that you do long strokes, okay?
It's a great day for the children. They really get a chance to do lots of different things outside of the classroom, be it learning how to use a saw or a sledgehammer. They love banging in the stakes, or even just sawing a piece of wood is a novel thing for many of the children. So pull it out and carry it all the way round and dump it up here. So that's it, that's much better. Hopefully I've given the opportunity for some students to experience something outside of the classroom and have a greater understanding of the natural world and appreciation for it, and that hopefully they will make a few decisions in their future lives that does go on to be a positive trickle effect down to many others.
Doing environmental projects, do we think that we've got it right 100%? Do we think all our children never drop litter, etc.? No. But what we try and do is encourage them to see what is possible and why it's important.
We'd like to think that we're raising environmental consciousness. We'd like to think that today of all days, when the world seems to be on the brink of global disaster with global warming and so many different things that we hear about, that the younger population are aware of this.
Hopefully it's raised pupil awareness. Hopefully by raising the awareness of all environmental issues, it's made students think a bit more about what they do.
The only way that we've got any hope of making sure that this planet is saved in the future is by giving children some sort of environmental education and appreciation of that.
In 2003, Cheshire County Council set about building a unique new school with the environment at its heart. It's become nationally and internationally recognised as an exemplar of sustainable design.
I think Cheshire for a long time have wanted to build a sustainable school for the new century, looking at environmental issues, but also as a learning and teaching environment for the 21st century as well. And they had this opportunity to build this new school for this new estate.
When we started to think about some of the design principles that we wanted to incorporate into this location, one of the key features that we were very keen to ensure that we did incorporate was sustainability.
The building's also been designed very much with the idea of minimising the footprint that the construction leaves on the planet, even taking into account energy consumption.
Kingsmead is more than just a sustainable building. The architects designed it with children and education in mind.
It's an interactive environment as far as we can possibly make it, so that pupils can use it, they can see what's going on, they can learn about the performance of the building, they can learn about the environmental factors. We've incorporated within the design of the building a rainwater harvesting system. The rainwater is gathered from the roof and it comes down through a clear plastic tube in the hall. Pupils can actually see this, they can see this happening, and they know that the water is going through the tube into an underground tank where it is filtered, and then we reuse the water.
If you flush it.
So where did that come from?
The rainwater off the roof.
Right, we're going to have a look at the rain. Yeah, see how much rain we collected yesterday.
The younger children who have been monitoring it this week, they're quite young and they're being introduced to things like 3-digit numbers, so reading hundreds. So they're good on tens and units. They're starting to do hundreds. Some of them, of course, when we've had a lot of rain, it's been into the thousands. So they're being introduced to bigger numbers and being asked, we're using the language of those big numbers on the daily count.
This is a building that breathes and thinks for itself. So the weather station monitors externally what's happening with the weather, the wind direction, whether or not it's raining, how warm or cold it happens to be, and the building will decide whether or not it needs more ventilation.
They've got, you can see there's exposed pipes up there. Purple wires carry data, green telephones, and in the entrance hall there's one little solitary black wire going up on the roof, and that's going to collect the solar electricity. So they see the building working.
We have photovoltaic panels on the roof together with solar panels, and they generate hot water for the school, and they also generate additional electricity for the school.
We really encourage people, you know, not necessarily buying all new stuff all the time, recycling what we can. It's just a way of thinking, and it doesn't have to be anything big. It's just like when the carpet men went, you know, saying, don't throw those away. They had these big strips of plasticky stuff to protect the carpets. We'll just go in the skip. When we had the skip when the building was made, I think more came out than went in.
Right, who can remind us, why are we monitoring the waste? Why are we trying to reduce our waste? Okay, Andrew.
So we don't make the thing called the greenhouse effect to make the to make the planet too hot.
We've got a healthy eating menu, which involves home-cooked food every day. That's great, but there is more waste because, you know, if we gave them chips and burgers every day, we would have less waste. The brains would all be addled in the afternoon. So there's some children in Year 4 who are monitoring it. So they weigh the food waste every day and they set themselves a target. They use the averages. They worked out that you can't take one day's data. You have to do an average so that you can make a realistic target. Not to eat all your dinner, but to actually take what you want and use what you take. So being a more ethical consumer is really fundamental to that.
When we grow up, we would be just very environmentally friendly, because we get to help the environment and the global warming. And we learn a lot about the outside, and we look after it as much as we do in the inside as well.
This building is going to be here for a long time, so there'll be many generations of children who come through this school who see what we've done.
They're more environmentally aware, certainly, than when they came to school. They talk about their impact on the planet. They're trying to look after the environment inside and out. They are more aware. The challenge is to embed that into habit.
Solar panels is that red pipe there that you can see.
The nice thing about this school is it's a very beautiful building, it's very aspirational, it's not alternative. The environmental issues shouldn't be the prerogative of alternative groups, it should be mainstream for everybody, for all our children.